You come to ECG headquarters in Pretoria, the hotels that get booked every 2 weeks for the international visitor services, the transport, the ladies, the vendors that are, that are selling outside of the church around Pretoria at the airports. It is all because of ECG headquarters in South Africa. If they weren't here, they'd be in another country. So economically, you cannot avoid the fact that ECG does boost South Africa's economy, and it is because of the profits that are based here. And I don't see why we would have such allegations against them when they're doing so much good.
Shapushiri akuti alindejepe magambo gawo. Shenzomela ngwila wapele yakancheshe utata amekuka idi. Nzinda kwa limbi maloga sope gasubile nuwandu wawili pe. Wakwapela nganisi une inu kishinyanga. Shenzomela ngwila wapele yakancheshe utata amekuka idi. Washibani sha DPP so ni wali wakulolela mbalisi ya kumpoto kwa shilambo sha Malawi shezomela ngwila watawile. She ngwila akuti watawile ligongoli akuti ndaweji wali GMP wajigele mbiasi ya kuti ataila majupa gatisha pa sukulu nyuko apaja akuti atawe nyumbasyo kutenda gakuti omanjao ngani ya kusaga ya contract ijo. Na ambo she ngwila mpala MP jwa delajo jwala mwila kuti ajigale mbiasyo ni kutuwa paja o she ngwila o kuti watawile nyumbasyo. Sano koti jala mwile she ngwila kuti akamuleuka idi wayakancheche. Na ambo kwa jimila magambo she ngwila akutisha ajale ku high court kutishiga mulosho ashitosye. Nzinda walimbi maloga sope gasumi donu wandu wawili pe. Shamil Sulaimana wali MP ku Blantyre akuti wajimi ku parliament kuchisali la chilambo sha Malawi kuti maloga sope gamulimbi ku Blantyre gasumi donu wandu wawili pe mwakuti Chef Faizo abo ni mundu mwajumojo wakwe. Chef Faizo abo akuti wana madamu gakulanjila asomba mwakuti damu so siye kulungwa ko basi. Ulimu wakulanga asomba akuti no ukwete mbia pelepa mwakuti Chef Faizo agamba kusuma malo ni kutenda gadamu siya kulanjila asomba basi.
Madam Speaker, let me tell you about Limbi. Limbi currently, Madam Speaker, 80% is owned by two people. Two people. The whole of Limbi. In my constituency, Madam Speaker, already one of them owns over 50 hectares of land where he's doing his fish farming. And as I'm talking to you right now, Madam Speaker, I have a petition from the people of my area called Chiwembe Housing, where this guy is so arrogant that he has gone to build his fence right on the main road. No one can touch him because maybe he's fixing our boreholes. Madam Speaker, this is serious. And as I'm talking to you, Madam Speaker, the city council in Blantyre and lands are about to give this guy 48 hectares of land, which was Chigumura forest before. It pains me because this guy, if we go and dig him, Madam Speaker, he's got a British passport, not a Malawian passport. Madam Speaker, we can talk and talk, but this is a sad reality that we are facing. We talk of indigenous empowering ourselves, indigenous people, but it is not happening here in Malawi. Madam Speaker, I was watching a video clip just the day before yesterday of a certain gentleman here in Lilongwe hosting a birthday party of his wife in Dubai. Madam Speaker, I could not believe it. He has 6 Bentleys parked in his car park, and he went and bought a brand new latest Bentley as a gift, a pink one, for his wife. There were Indian actors that were invited for this party. I'll forward you the clip, Madam Speaker.
Limbi nizinda wambia ko basi na amboswani kumangwa wandu wakutoshila ku India viwai sheka la ko basi mwakuti tulistu atenda kajama njao amwenye. Shilambo sha Malawi shasumulido kalakala na amwenye wali wanambia mwakuti akusi ashikamuki siaga shilambo na amboswani alinkushijonanga na ambo amwenye wakuti akusangala lali mkutama ni kujikamuchisi agamalayo mwakuti agamba kuwenda kuti twapeje ulemu basi.
Ife kuno kumalawi timakhala mwantendere kwambiri, tiyena kutokoza Mulungu, komaso tiyena kutokoza His Excellency the President. Chifangati tikapanda kupeza ulemu ndi respect kuti tizichita practice ma religion zathu ni ma culture watu sitting akondwere ayi. Koma timalandira ufulu umenewu kuno.
Mwina kusangalala kuti munalandira ufulu ku India. Ndizofunikira bwanji ngati nzika za ku India?
Ku India tinali ndi boma la British ngati tinali naye kuno. Ndiye amene anachita fight kweni ndi Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi anali ndi policy kuti kupeza chinthu chilichonse pafuna kumachita discussion. Zimene anatiphunzitsa a president watu woyambaja His Excellency Dr. Kamuzu Banda kuti contact and dialogue ndezimathetsa zonse.
Shabushiri akuti alindejepe magambo gawo. Shabushiri wali longolajwa in Latin Christian Gathering ECG ku Pretoria akwa jimba magambo gakatangale ni wiyi. The National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa akuti jawo gulira Shabushiri magambo gakuti omwanjao akusi ajigalaga ikwama yambia kuika kusisa ku Malawi ni lambo yine ya kuusa kwa South Africa. Mu 2019 wapolisi wapite kuja kwa kamula Shabushiri kuti wajimbe magambo gakusiambesya nikoposiambia nchilambo cha South Africa.
The National Prosecuting Authority of South Africa appears not to have enough proof in the case of fraud, money laundering, and contravention of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act charges against Prophet Shepherd Bushiri of the Enlightened Christian Gathering Church. For the fourth time since February 2019, the case has been postponed as the state says it is not ready to proceed with the trial. This, human rights lawyers say it is a violation of the fundamental rights of Prophet Bushiri. The NPA spokesperson Lumka Mahajana says the trial date has been set for the 31st of May to the 18th of June 2021.
Pakuyeshita na ujape ku magambo ko Shabushiri adandawile kuti magambo gawo agamba kugalepelesia mwakuti auno wali yule ndo wancheche kulepeleka kuyeshita magambogo.
Prophet Bushiri, who made a brief virtual appearance at the North Houghton High Court, says it is surprising that a pre-trial, which was ordered in July 2020, was not conducted as initially planned.
My wife and I appeared before the Pretoria High Court through the video conference, and I am here to inform you all that the matter has been postponed to next year, the 31st May 2021. You may recall that my wife and I were arrested in February 2019 on charges of fraud, money laundering, and contravention of exchange regulations. As we appear today, to our surprise and to our great utter shock, the judge did not conduct the pre-trial as he ordered the state on our last appearance of the 27th July 2020.
Shabushiri adandawile kuti magambo gawo gajinjile ndale mwakuti pane agamba kwa wilanga kukoti nambo ngasalira ishaka weshitene pa magambo pali sukulyo. Magambo gasha kulungwa mpala jama njao gakusikia wagaga kusalira na kuti tuka usiane ya kuti lelo mwakuti uli mkwala ukusia waga ukoseche ya kuja kwa anga. Nambo Shabushiri akwasi saga mwakuti agamba kwa salira ndawi jilijiwandishile ya kuinjila mkoti.
It is also worth mentioning that the state sent our lawyers a revised indictment, or in simple terms, call it the charge sheet, which was sent 45 minutes before the court appearance, which is by legal proceedings called ambush.
Nambo Shabushiri akuti nantamusi akuti akwala gasi ya nambo omwanjao akuembeshira pelisu kulia kuti shaweshite magambo. paluala lwa magambo ni malo gakusose kwa basi ligongo ni malo gamope gukusi akolaga mashiri gakwitika kapena kana magambo go mwakutisha Bushiri akuti ahulinda lisiku lyao basi.
The law-abiding citizen, I still believe in the integrity of the South African justice system. And I will still cooperate with the courts until justice is saved and prevailed. It's our prayers and our wish to have this trial ahead. We believe that through this, and by not another way, we can have our voices and our innocence proven.
Nambo wandu wajinji akudanda ula ligongo yikulosya kuti boma jangali umboni wakwajimbila magambo Sheikh Bushiri mwakuti bola agambe kwa aleka basi. Ligongo Sheikh Bushiri akukamuchisiaga kwa basi ku Pretoria mwakuti business sikulongoso kakoleko ligongo lya Sheikh Bushiri munda aja akwika wandu wajinji kuja kupopela kusharishisha awoshi.
Hundreds of congregants of the church expressed dissatisfaction at the consistent postponement of the case owing to the fact that a prophet through the ministry has transformed lives.
You know, not really paying that much attention to all the negativity. It is unfair, of course. You come to ECG headquarters in Pretoria, the hotels that get booked every 2 weeks for the international visitors services, the transport, the ladies, the vendors that are, you know, that are selling outside of the church around Pretoria at the airports. It is all because of ECG headquarters in South Africa. If they weren't here, they'd be in another country. So economically, you cannot avoid the fact that ECG does boost South Africa's economy, and it is because of the prophets that are based here. And I don't see why we would have such allegations against them when they're doing so much good.
Wa opposition ku Tanzania kuti ngasi akunda kulusa. Wali wakusisi ya boma ja Tanzania kuti wanashikulupisha kuti boma ja Sheikh Magufuli chiyijiwile chisagula mwakuti jama njao ngasi akunda yakuichisa pa chisagula. Sheikh Tundu Lissu niwa akulongolela chipani cha kusisi ya boma mwakuti niwa akuoneka kuti mpaka hapa mbane pa chisagula chichitende gwelungu kuikau. Sheikh Tundu Lissu wagombeledwe ni wachifwamba wiwasakaga kwa ulaga omwanjao mwakuti watilile kushilambo sha sungu nambo apano ausile kukupikisana nao pashitengushi. Sheikh Tundu Lissu akuti boma jikusi ajiwile chisagula mwakuti auno ulendo uno shajiwile soni chisagulasho nambo jama njao ngasi akunda iyayi kuti shachiwa alinkutenda iwoneselo mpaka shatandile soni.
Tundu Lissu says he's worried about his safety while campaigning. He's also concerned about the independence of the Electoral Commission that barred him from campaigning for 7 days last week. Electoral officials said his conduct while on the campaign trail had been polarizing. Lissu recently returned to Tanzania from Belgium to run for president. He left 3 years ago when he was seriously injured after being repeatedly shot by unidentified gunmen.
We are not going to accept stolen elections. We are not going to accept rigged elections. We will call millions of our people onto the streets to take mass democratic action, peaceful action, to defend the integrity of the election, to defend their votes if it comes to that.
His main competitor, President John Pombe Magufuli, is also out campaigning, attracting thousands of people to his rallies. He's been accused by human rights organizations and the opposition of being a dictator and presiding over a government that is intolerant of dissent and has curtailed rights of expression and the media. The president has avoided that debate, instead focusing on his record. Some analysts say he's on the right track.
He's done very well in the economic front, you know, the projects that we are talking about. He's done very well in the issues of governance, especially fighting corruption in all fronts.
Nambo wandu akutini longola jo Tanzania Sheikh Magufuli wanaula musiwangalwe wakuti nagala mwile pakaoneka mundu juine jwa kusisi ayeleyo shilambo sha Tanzania shikwenda shenene nambo ula musiwawo wangalwe.
In the last few years, however, it appears as if he has decided that perhaps he wants to maintain his position, and one way to do it is to make sure that people do what he wants and thereby maintain his position. And that's why he's taken a whole lot of steps that the Human Rights Watch has been talking about: banning organizations, closing down newspapers, arresting opposition leaders. Those are not democratic inspired movements, and therefore all this attention that he's getting. But we're hoping that, as the report made clear, that the closer we get to the election, hopefully the easier it will be for people to cast their ballots.
Ku South Africa wana ngondo yasunguna ashapiliwo. Ku Senegal, South Africa kuti kusawisye ko basi pakati pa vandu washapiliwo na asungu. Ngani jipatinja kuti vandu vavili washapiliwo vawule jensi yene famu jwali nsungu. Malilogo ni kugatawilila pashipila la. Samba no lunguma sileo vandu washapiliwo wapite na kukoti kuja kwa jimba magambo. Na ambo asungu wajinji wajigalene kuja kutenda shuwawa kumagambo ko mwakuti wasaka kuti vandu wajigale kutaka ulaje nombe. Na ambo ashipani shashe Julius Malema wapita kukoko kuja kwa asali la asungu kuti yakuti asungu akaseje koti kapena kuti wa ulaje washapiliwo pomwe vandu ali atahido ni wa polisi kala yela Shamalema akukana yakwa ulaga asungu Shamalema nga kusaka iyai na ntamisa kuti omwanjao wanga saka asungu.
It's the culmination of days of tension as supporters of the economic freedom fighters confront white farmers in Senekal in the Free State province. The fighters, as they call themselves, say they're here to defend state institutions and democracy, but some of their supporters threw rocks and blocked the road. Last week, white farmers stormed the Senekal Magistrates Court as two black men appeared for the murder of white farm manager Brendan Horner. They damaged property and set fire to a police vehicle.
We are going to stop them to do as they wish, but not to confront them. We are here. Whatever they will start, we will give. If they give the fight, we give them the fight.
Farmers here say the government has failed them by not dealing with violence on farms. Brendan Horner was killed 2 weeks ago. His body was dumped here.
The cause of death was strangled. He was strangled. And then he was pulled with the same rope he was strangled. He was pulled to that pole. And at that pole he was fastened to the pole. And he was left over there.
As the two men appeared again in court on Friday for the murder, farmers and their supporters demonstrated outside. According to civil rights organization AfriForum, there have been more than 290 farm attacks and 37 murders this year.
Enough is enough. We can't afford the killing of our farmers in this country anymore. They carry our economy, they make our food that feeds us. It is important that we take a stand today.
The leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, has been accused of inciting violence and stoking racial tensions. Farmers we spoke to who refused to appear on camera said they too are prepared to fight if necessary.
This is our land. Don't listen to any elderly person who tells you how you must treat white people. If our elders were brave enough, we won't be here today. There won't be a white arrogant man. There won't be a disrespectful white man.
The bail application for the two men accused of killing Horner has been postponed until next week.
Tishala ansinje ligongo lya kunyosi antume. Tishala yapa sukulu jina kushilambo sha France awulaja ali ansinjile ligongo lya kuti omwanjao wanyosi agantume Muhammad. Tishala aju akutijwa asome siagawa anashewe ya kuti wandu wana ufulu wakulemba kapena kwa ambula ya kusaka. Kaneko ni wanjambu ile ntume. Sano wanashewe wani wapite kuja kwa sali la makuolo gao. Sano ni waishe wandu ni kunkamula Tishala jo ni kunsikita. Na ambo wa polisi wagombele jule jua sikitejo. Juine soni ni wanjigere ni kuntawa.
It was here, 30 kilometres from the centre of Paris, that a suburban school became a stage for a twisted madman. By decapitating a history teacher, the 18-year-old extremist believed that he was teaching a lesson of his own. On social media, he would post a photo of his victim's severed head, along with a message to the French President Emmanuel Macron. To the leader of the infidels, he wrote, "I executed one of your hellhounds who dared belittle Muhammad." The victim's fatal act was showing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad to his students. This man's son was in the class. He says parents had later met with the teacher and it was thought that the tensions had been resolved. This was a professor he liked, a very nice, very pleasant professor, not Islamophobic, he said. Arriving during the aftermath, Emmanuel Macron said the victim was only doing his job. He was teaching, the president said. He was teaching students about the freedom of expression, the liberty to believe and not believe. But that freedom of expression has proven deadly in this city before. Cartoons of Muhammad led to the Charlie Hebdo newsroom massacre in 2015. 14 people are currently on trial for that act of terrorism. But for this, the assailant has already paid the price. 600 metres from the scene of the crime, he was shot dead by police.
Kwenda tulole soni mitojangani sia lelo shabushiri akuti alinde jepe magambo gawo chensomera ngwila lwapele yakancheshe kutata amekukaidi nzinda walimbi malo gesope gasumile niwandu weyilipe wakwapela nganisi nali une ino siyanga siko.